Hi, this is Tina, and welcome back to Joyful Entrepreneurs. This is where we have the opportunity to share with other joyful entrepreneurs and just receiving some insight and tips into what can support you with creating a business and a life that is an expression of the joy that you are. And so I'm really happy to be here with Nalini from Chalice of Wisdom. Welcome back, Nalini.
Thanks, Tina. It's good to be here.
Yeah. Oh, I was just pondering the topic of power and sovereignty after we had a private session just last week. It was very interesting where both of those topics came up. And I think especially with all the shifts and everything that are happening, that both of those can have so many distortions or misinterpretations of what power and what sovereignty really is. So I'd love you to talk about that and give us some tips maybe or insights as to how to be with that.
Okay. Well, the whole thing about power, there's, oh my gosh, what an overtrodden topic. Love is power, basically. The infinite field of love, the infinite, the divine is power. Nature is power. The elements, the elementals, the stones, the trees, water, resources, that's power. And it's funny because the minute I say resources, I can feel the people who are going to listen to this, they go, "Ooh, resources are power." Yes, I understand that. And it's like, that's what mind and ego understand as power. And then there's the whole debate about power for, power over. Power is the creative energy. Love is the creative energy, and that is power. And it's all of the overlays and misunderstandings and ways that this has been twisted that have caused the issues with that. And then there's a whole movement about claiming your power or reclaiming your power. And really, at the tech of it, the energy of that, what that really means is, regardless of your tradition and how it's interpreted, is that you're taking back the energy you've invested in illusions, or more likely the delusion that you walk around in. You're taking back things you've given energy to and that you continue to feed. So the God program might be one of them. And I'm not talking about real divinity, source, all that, but this program that has been given authority to, or in some cases it's a teacher, or in a lot of cases it's the way that power has been projected onto one gender or the other. It's just all these ways where this word has gotten very complicated and kind of glommed over. And really what it is just pure energy. For me, one of the emblems of that from the Hindu pantheon has always been Durga, the invincible force. And yes, she's a goddess archetype, but just the energy of it, if you feel the energy that comes through it, it's clean, it's pure, it's unstoppable. Her daughter, Kali, is surgical in her ability to shift things rather abruptly. And we see that as destructive. That's really no different than like Pele's energy, the volcanic energy that creates new land. It might destroy a few human habitations along the way because they were stupid enough to build in the way, But really, you have to look at things, look at it from the overall view, the way that nature looks at it, the way the infinite looks at it. It's like, oh, it's not about your puny little agenda, you little ego, and that's all of us, right? It's about really what the divine has in store for us, or the divine kind of, I don't know a word for it. I can't call it plan or agenda because those are human words, but that is power. The power that comes through us is when we let the light wield us. The Jedi is a really good example. The Jedi does not control the Force, right? Remember your Yoda, right? The Jedi becomes part of it and learns to wield those energies. And always, if you really look at it as a protection or as a way of defending the truth, and that that's a more true use of it. It's not for manipulation. A lot of people see power as resources or as the ability to control. That's the big one on this world right now. Power is the ability to control something, or power is the ability to shut something down. That's from the Matrix movies, right? Well, if you can kill it, you have power over it. Well, no, because truthfully, is death a disempowered state? I mean, this is getting way off the map here, but is it? Or is it something that happens to every form on this world, except the rocks and the trees? If you've ever noticed, they change form, but they don't go away. And send you to wait. Our energy changes. Every molecule, every atom in our bodies comes from the stars, comes from the universe. And so we don't cease to exist. We dissolve into what we actually are and then become something else, basically. So, what power is also really wound up and enmeshed with fear, like fear of having power, fear of not having power, fear of other people having power. That's the big one. And if you are one with that, power, why should you fear someone else having it? I mean, we're all, at an integral level, we are all part of that. You can't walk up to someone, pointing a gun at you and say, we're all part of the same power, don't shoot me, because that's not going to go well. That's different. You have an egoic agenda in the mix there, and,
Yeah.
but it's a different way of looking at things. And then we were talking about how sovereignty mixes into that. Well, sovereignty is another word that gets really egoically used. People think sovereign means, again, ruling over or power over or control. And egos don't have control over anything. I mean, it's one of the best things we can learn is that the ego controls nothing. It just likes to think it does, and it will fight for that position. It will defend it at all costs. It will bring up what it thinks is power. It's a puny little thing that it can wield, in light of what can come through, And so sovereignty really has to do with, if the light is coming through you, if you have surrendered to it, giving yourself to it, whatever, however you choose to see that, if it's coming through you, then you are as powerful as you need to be in any given moment. You learn to trust that, and you learn by practicing it. And then you can be held in that by not allowing your energy or that source's energy to be siphoned off of you in ways that source isn't intending. I mean, the big thing about wielding light is you let it wield itself through you. And then you get to point the hose here and there and say, ooh, take care of that situation, or hose that down with light, please, because, the best situation really needs to happen there, or it's something you care about. And then you let source do it, because she'll do a better job than you would, trusting that. But the sovereignty thing has to do with having your own field clear so that the light can permeate 100% of it. And we all have all these little lines or other people's energy or whatever in us until we really let the light move it all out. If you let the light come completely through you, it will flush them all out. It will just purge. But we hold on to these things because we think it supports us, or we think that that's a way of having power, or we're just used to it. A lot of it's just habit at this point. We're just used to having that stuff there. Or we think because in the martyrdom cycle, if you were helping people, that meant you were dragging their energy around with you and doing it for them, and that never helped anyone.
No.
No one learns their lessons by someone else carrying their crap around for them. It just doesn't work. And no one learns what they came to learn. Really, we all have, a reason to be here. And if you go and say, oh, here, I'll do that for you. I mean, if there's a legitimate need for help, source will show you that, will move through you to help it. You'll move without thinking. And this doesn't come from an egoic impulse. It comes because it just comes. It's not because, oh, I know that's the right one. We do have to develop that discernment. But that's usually not how it shows up. You just find yourself acting in a situation, and that's the light acting through you. You're there. You're the implement that source could use at the time, the instrument, the tool, whatever. There you are. Yeah. And the light needs this done, or would like to have this changed. So you do it. It doesn't mean that we lose control of our lives. It's funny because when we let the light come through us, we are power. We are sovereignty. We are these things. We don't have to go look for them. We don't have to let them find us. We are that. And it's not for everyone because people are very attached to their egoic agendas, and that's okay. Because, for a lot of beings, that's what they came in to do. It's like, I want to have this experience, and they have parameters and guidelines and a 5-year plan and all this other stuff. And good luck with that. But I mean, the intentions are great, but the period we're in right now is not conducive to a lot of planning. I mean, certain things, overall things, etc. You can have a goal of something you'd like to accomplish because it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
If it isn't fun, forget about it. Don't do it. It won't work out well for you. But if there's something, ooh, this would be really cool, then yay, that's the feeling. But then the power moves through you, and then your field is full. Your energy field, your orb, your luminous egg, whatever you call it, is filled with the light and abundance and joy and the love that is source of support. And it's in alignment with your intention and your resonance, and that's sovereignty. It's not carrying all this other stuff around.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I think with a lot of these, language can be so limiting and restrictive. You're trying to find words for something like, well, like if we're looking up the definitions of some words and you go and have a look to see, there are so many distortions held within that. And so if you have, let's say you have 60% of what something actually is, and 40% you're not even aware of that is in conflict or contrast with that, then it's like this constant tug of war that's playing out, right? So
it's usually the reverse. Our unconscious usually has 60 to 70% of the definition, and we only usually have a partial little, smear, this low percentage in our minds until we become more conscious.
Yeah, and so then looking at the way, like powering on, you hear people talking about that, but yet realizing that, wow, if there is so much fear that's associated with that, you and I were talking about that a while back.
Yeah.
You need to
Yeah, that all has to be released, because letting power move through you, letting the light move through you, means that you might do some things that you don't think are nice, or you might do some things that and that might be okay with you. Your ego might think, yeah, they all deserve it, and revenge or whatever, and like that won't ever get powered right now. Just forget it. The taps will get turned right off. Unless source has it in for that person. But I mean, why would that ever happen? Come on. But yeah, it's this mixed bag until we can really allow ourselves to be clear. And most people, they find a system, and there are systems out there that say, well, this is going to get me clear. It's a work in progress right now, because the energies are changing so fast and they're moving so fast. And then there are people that say, oh, well, that's impossible, so I'm just going to ignore it. That's the more common one. And no one can ignore this right now. Now, consciously, maybe you don't go around thinking about it. You don't have practices about it. Maybe so, and that's fine. But it's happening. And so we're learning by immersion right now. We're being immersed in the field, in the light. And what that will do is it will push out of us, through events, people, places, things, situations, synchronicities, opportunities, or what have you. It will show us, ooh, why did that show up in my life? Well, because it's there. Those energies are there in your field. And when they're not in your field anymore, that particular situation, circumstance will stop showing up. And there's something there that's creating it. So it helps also to look beyond the surface of what's showing up and look for what's primary, what's the root, what's the seed form. And you don't have to use those words, but just what's under that. Let's lift the bonnet and see what's really driving that, and then give it to source. Offer it up, let it go. Be really willing to commit to having that gone and replaced with however the light would like to replace it, because it will be better.
Mm-hmm. So any resources, any of the events coming up, or any of the sessions that you offer, or anything particularly to be really helpful with this?
Well, I should say general, the one-on-one alignments that I do really are just a direct look at a person's field, their energy configuration, and then we just let source make the attunements, the alterations, and move the energy that wants moving. There's that. I'm currently teaching, isn't that weird? A three-part session called Mystic Steps, and this is mystical energy for the new cycle. You know, many people out there who have studied mysticism for years and years and years, and this is just, well, there's some changes. There are updates. You know, this is upgraded software, I guess. So that's coming through. Part 1 was just a week or so ago, was July, and then parts 2 and 3 are in August and September. And there's not a prerequisite to have taken the one before. If somebody would like to show up each time, we'll talk about something a little bit different. Because it really is paying attention to what energies are you running in your bodies and in your field, and what are you doing with them. Mm-hmm. This is the foundation of power. It's basic. It's that. And that's, you say, well, that's really comprehensive. Yes, most basic, simple things are completely comprehensive. And so, like, what is running through you that you're not aware of? You know, I'll talk to people, you know, you and I've had those conversations. I'll say, did you know that this person was like running through your field right now? And they'll go, oh, I've been thinking about them. Or, oh, you know, I had this memory the other day. And you're like, well, thought touches things. And that means that it doesn't always mean they're like running through you or have you lined out or anything, but sometimes it just means there's a connection there that you might just want to keep clean. Just keep that clean, you know. You don't want all that static in your field. And so there's things like that we can pay attention to. And then how are you wielding power? That's a whole other thing. And it's really letting source wield it through you. But then you do get to point the hose, but you have to know when. It's discernment. It's all about discernment. You have to know when it's appropriate, and you let spirit tell you. And that, for human egos, that just really seems to be the tough one.
The S word, surrender.
Yeah, well, and sometimes there are things that source says do this and you don't want to, you know, and that's the thing everyone's afraid of. And then there are things that source says, no, that's not for you to do. And people say, oh, but you know, my heart is bleeding for that. Believe me, I had spent years working with that one, wrestling with that one, because I just, you know, I see something there's pain or something like that. I want to help it. But it's not always appropriate. Again, there's that learning going on, or there's a situation there that spirit has well in hand and even though it doesn't look like to us, and she'll be just like, no, let's just nudge you off of that field. Don't think about it. Don't hold it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really. Yes. This is a rabbit hole conversation, right?
It kind of is. This could go on many places for a long time.
Yeah. Beautiful. I find that one of the things that helps me is to really just feel into, okay, what enhances my joy in this moment? To just really, where I am at the moment, I've been in this beautiful, very quiet part of Western Australia. And right now, it's like we just had the new moon and it's pitch black. The sky was there must be cloudy or something. There's no star in the sky to be seen. So black that walking down the driveway to drop something off, I needed a flashlight because I couldn't even see my eyes, you know. And I was, wow, that quiet and that peace, being in nature, is something that so many in today's world just never have the experience of, or not very often. And so finding a way to be able to bring that quiet into every day, so that even if you are in a really busy place, that you can hold that energy. So I guess then entrainment, being in a place that supports that and trains that, and then you can bring that into everyday things, right?
Yeah, because all power comes from stillness. It does. Beautiful. It's its source. Yeah.
Beautiful. All right. Well, so for the resources and the tools available, go to chaliceofwisdom.com and have a look at the events and the calendar, and you'll see what's available there. And anything else that you would like to share before we wrap up our chat here today?
Nothing I can think of except, you know, don't fear the power. Just let the fear go. You know, watch it as it moves through you and just observe. Ours is not to reason why. It's simply to watch and wonder.
Thank you, Nalini. Well, until the next time, many joyful blessings. And for everyone watching, if you're enjoying these episodes, then please do share them with your friends. And yeah, we look forward to meeting again.
Me too.